Jason Horowitz, Clark Judge, glad to be with you on CBSSports.com from Radio City Music Hall, site of the NFL Draft. And Clark, let's talk about the top 10 picks. And are you surprised that the first 6 guys were all 6 guys that were here at the NFL Draft?
Yeah, I've never seen that happen before. I mean, I think we all have memories of Aaron Rodgers, Matt Leinart, but this is the first time. I mean, give the NFL credit. They got it right this time.
Yeah, all 6 guys that were invited did go in the top 6 picks, but one of the question marks there is the fact that Kansas City took Glenn Dorsey at number 5. How surprising was that?
Well, it wasn't surprising as of this morning because Atlanta suddenly locked on to Matt Ryan this morning. Once Matt Ryan goes to Atlanta, Dorsey was going to fall. And when I talked to somebody from Kansas City, he said, you can bet it's going to take us about 2 seconds to take Glenn Dorsey. He was the top player on their board.
Well, the nice thing was that Miami, who had made their pick on Thursday, decided that they weren't going to take any time to take Jake Long, so that helped speed along the top 10 picks. Let's talk about Matt Ryan a little bit. Going number 3 to Atlanta, how did that affect the rest of the top 10?
Well, it certainly had an impact on what Kansas City was going to do because Kansas City's sitting there going, we're looking possibly to trade back. If Matt Ryan goes to, let's say, 8 to Baltimore, teams are trying to get up to Kansas City's spot to take, let's say, Vernon Golston. But once Dorsey's there, Kansas City doesn't move. New England wanted to get up there. New York wanted to get up there, but they didn't move. They stayed tight, and they got Dorsey. They got the man they wanted, and so, Baltimore has to go back.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what happened. Baltimore traded its 8th pick to Jacksonville for its 26th to go along with 2 third-rounders and a 4th. When you look at Baltimore, assuming they're going to take a quarterback at number 26 in Jacksonville, but Jacksonville giving up a lot to get Derek Harvey at number 8.
Well, that's because they don't have a great pass rush. I mean, they lost a lot in the offseason. Stroud's gone, lost a defensive end. They need somebody on the outside. Derek Harvey is a rare talent. He's a pass rusher, strictly a pass rusher, and he's a special guy for them at that position. They gave up a lot, but that's why Baltimore is good. That's why Baltimore does so well in the draft. Yeah. They know what they're going to get, and they got it today.
And they took a lot of picks in the process.
Look for them probably to get Braum or Joe Flacco, I think, late in the first.
Well, they've got that first. They've got 3 thirds and now 3 fourths unless they make a trade as well. Then 2 linebackers go 9 and 10. Keith Rivers, USC, going to Cincinnati. And then Gerard Mayo, the Patriots, who had traded their pick from the 7th to New Orleans, who took the defensive tackle out of USC as well. Talk about the 2 linebackers going 9 and 10.
Well, Mayo, a lot of people think that's probably too high for Jared Mayo, but I don't. I mean, there's some people who compared him to Patrick Willis, and what Willis did last year for San Francisco and said this year's Patrick Willis just makes a difference where he's going to go. When he goes to New England, perfect guy for New England. It really is. You look at Keith Rivers. I mean, I think where New Orleans was sitting at 10, they were looking to get ahead to get Cedric Ellis, all right? So they look at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati says, geez, we'd like to get Ellis, but if we don't get him, we're going for the linebacker. That's a slam dunk pick right there.
The one person we haven't talked about so far in the top 10, Darren McFadden, going to Oakland. So now the Raiders, Jamarcus Russell last year, Darren McFadden this year. They added Javon Walker in the offseason. Explosive offense, possibly.
Should be. I mean, you look at the Raiders last year, they had 1 play over 50 yards. It's a 50-yard catch by Jerry Porter. He's not even with him anymore, all right? So their next big play was like 49 yards. They need somebody who can run the ball 80 yards. This guy can. And I do think he makes them potentially explosive. But the key word there is potentially. They had Randy Moss. You see what he did for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, of course, what you saw what he did for New England as well, although it did not deliver a Super Bowl. We'll be back with more on the rest of the first round throughout the day. And, of course, you can read all of the stuff from Clark and Pete Prisco on CBSSports.com. Take care, folks.